What's up, guys? Welcome back to... It's funny because we're in the library right now and that guy was loud as fuck earlier. He works here and you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, but this guy just like opened up the library room for me and he was screaming the instructions at me like ridiculous. And he warned me that the room's not soundproof, so trust me, we'll hear you, guy. But anyway, back to it. Welcome back to the Getting Sober podcast. Happy Festivus, by the way.
Of course, yeah.
Yes, happy Festivus.
Festivus for the rest of us.
The greatest holiday of the year. But it's a Festivus miracle because I finally have a guest. Somebody I've known my entire life. Probably known you longer than most people.
20 years.
Yeah, 20 years.
Yeah.
That's insane.
At this age, to say, you've known somebody for 20 years, that's always pretty crazy.
That's crazy. You can still stay in contact,
Yeah.
and like, there's a lot, he's going to tell us to quiet down. But yeah, and still enjoy the other person's company is very rare. But my guest today is not only my friend, but an artillery officer in the United States military. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program, Luke Baumgartner. Luke, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank
You're
you
doing
for having
great?
me. Yeah.
You're having a good Festivus so
Yes.
far?
Yeah, I woke up, ate some good breakfast, and now I'm good. So.
You put the poll up?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, we've known each other for a long ass time. We were preschool?
Yeah, we went to preschool together.
Jesus, and our little religious upbringing and our Lutheran...
Yeah, our Lutheran brainwashing. Get to that. Don't worry.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We got that on deck.
That's what I think is so interesting about our friendship is because we had that similar upbringing, and a lot of the people that we grew up with didn't get out of it.
Exactly.
I see a lot of people that are still in that, like brainwash, and they're good people. Good people
absolutely,
that, I have nothing against them, but it's just, you feel bad that it's like, how are you still sucked into this?
Yeah.
And, I mean, we have very similar thoughts on just God being bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
And, I don't know, do you have any, like what led you down that path? What made you finally figure out, like, what the fuck am I doing here?
Yeah. I was actually, I think it was probably a sophomore in college. And so I just started pledging my fraternity, and we went to a party, and I think it was like for homecoming, actually, for our homecoming game. And we went to a party that night. There's a girl I was talking with like all night and everything like that. And I was like really into her, and then ironically enough, I saw her like, we were all like super drunk at the time, so I saw this girl and actually making out with another dude that I knew, and I was kind of like disappointed. And then my buddy came over, who's one of my best friends still this day.
Sure.
He came over and he was like, "Hey man, it's no big deal. Let's just go outside and talk." So us having this drunken conversation, it just kind of came up that he's like, I don't know how it came up, but he was just talking about, yeah man, there's really no God in the universe, so it doesn't really matter in the fucking end. I'm like, huh, okay. I didn't really think much of it.
Sure, but something, a little spark happened.
And that was like the first time that I could remember actually kind of like thinking about that. Don't get me wrong, like when I was still like maybe 13, 14, I asked the wrong questions in my school.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
do you remember any? Like,
Yeah, so I remember in 7th grade, our science teacher had a question box.
Now, this was at Trinity, right?
Yeah, this was at
you were
Trinity.
still, you went all the way through 8th grade. So I think I got out early, because I got out, like before, like, 1st grade.
Yeah.
Like, so I was, but I'm sorry to go on a tangent, but I've discussed this before, and I've said this to my sister. She also went through till 8th grade, and if you know, my sister is still very religious, and I got out early, and I was like, I think that's one of the key components of me not being religious and her being religious.
Yeah.
But go on, sorry.
No, that's fine. So, there was a question box, and you could like ask a question anonymously. It could be about anything. And then, so I asked one. I asked, "Can you still be a Christian and believe in evolution?"
Oh man.
Because at that point, like, we were starting to learn about, basic biology in, like, 7th grade, everything like that. But our textbook was made for public schools, so we could.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so we completely skipped the evolution chapter.
Wow.
Yeah, on purpose. So we wanted questions, but me, I
You
read
did your
it.
research, yeah.
Yeah, I read it because
The curious man you are, yeah.
Yeah, so I read it and I asked, and the science teacher was like, "No, not really. It's like an all or nothing kind of thing." But ironically enough, they always cherry pick the parts of the Bible they want to believe.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So it's irony in its truest form.
The amazing thing about this too is this is what, probably 2008 at this point.
7, 8.
The science is out.
It done been out.
Oh yeah, like if this was maybe the 1980s or something, I get it, but kids can look. The internet exists. Kids can do their research and be like, "What the fuck?" You know, like, how are you still getting away with this kind of shit?
At that point, my older sister, she was going to school for biology, for a biology degree before she went to med school. So obviously, I had another outlet to ask about science,
absolutely,
and everything like that. So
now, does she still carry any of the religion with the? Okay, so does anybody like you don't have to go into your family, but are you guys like the odd ones out, or
my sister and I are?
Yeah, it's just
definitely.
you two. Yeah.
I mean, I always get inklings that other people in my family might be, but they just don't say anything.
Sure, they just don't want to stir the pot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely people that like to stir the pot.
Oh, yeah. I always sometimes think that maybe my dad is, but
sure,
he'll never say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's stuck in his ways.
Yeah, for the most part.
Sure.
But he's come around, actually.
Sure, yeah.
Proud of him for that.
That's good, yeah. Well, it's kind of how it is with my mom. Like, my mom and I have always, she's always respected me for, my disbelief, and she's still very much in it. But the older I get, I'm like libbing her up. She's like slowly becoming
that's how my dad's gotten. Like, that's how it's gotten with my dad.
I think it's once they when it's out in the world, or when they're out in the world their whole life, they're in their way. But now when they're seeing that it's their own kids, I think that maybe that is like
another thing too. I think it's when you get older and you become more informed and you can actually form a coherent argument, or make your point in a valid way, then I think the older folks will actually end up respecting you because you can actually make that argument in a way that they can understand. It's not just like, hey, 16, 17-year-old me coming to you thinking X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
But you can actually back up what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
And be informed about it.
Yeah, and they respect you a little bit more for it.
I'm lucky that my parents aren't the typical Facebook boomers.
Oh my God, dude! I just you posted something yesterday. It was, dude. You made my heart warm for calling these fucking idiots out. It's
the type of shit that, like, luckily my parents are smart. Like, my parents are well educated. They're well read. So they can sift through the bullshit that they see.
Absolutely.
And if they're unsure, they'll ask me. Or they'll ask one of my sisters. And like, yeah, Mom, that's bullshit. Dad, that's bullshit. Or, something like that. But it was the shit. This is a fucking picture that I posted yesterday. I'm just like, you always see the least educated motherfuckers saying this type of shit.
And what? Walk through the picture. You got it on your phone there. Yeah. But no. It was that's seriously something because you just worded it perfectly for me because it's something that I wanted. You see, and it's not. I don't know. Read the stupid.
All right, so I'll read the picture. Yeah. It's like a 4-panel picture. It says, there was once a time when the president was honored, the police were appreciated, life was cherished, and veterans were revered. Let's bring that back. So the first one that says the president was honored is a picture of old Tiny T saluting. Then picture of police officers. Conveniently, there's 2 token black dudes in there.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. There is a picture of an unborn fetus, and then there is a picture of Medal of Honor recipient Kyle Carpenter.
Okay.
Too.
So it's
just like, so let's break this down.
Yeah, let's go panel for panel.
Yeah, let's go panel for panel. There was once a time the president was honored. I'm not going to delve too deep into this. Sure. I think everybody else can do their own research. Technically my boss, so I'm not going to get too critical on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
the next one says the police were appreciated.
Now this one I want to dive.
Yeah.
This one I want to dive into because
I can go off. Yeah,
it's one of my I'm so sick of this idea that we have to blanketly say that the Blue Lives Matter. Let me go into I'm sorry.
Here we go.
I'm trying to put my thoughts into a jar here, but Blue Lives Matter was a direct response to Black Lives Matter. Obviously. And I'm going to sound like an idiot or get canceled or something by the end of this, but I promise you, I only mean good. Black Lives Matter, everybody always points to, they were rioting, they were doing this, they were doing that, and then Black Lives Matter gets completely written off. Blue Lives Matter, even though there were actual people protesting in a good way for Black Lives Matter,
and of course there are people protesting in a bad way.
In a bad way, absolutely.
There's always going to be.
There's always going to be people, and it's like it's almost like the bad people are doing it because they have this excuse. Oh, we're doing it under this, and disguising themselves being an asshole. Well, Blue Lives Matter. You go over to this ballpark. Yes, blue police lives matter. I completely agree. But you know what police life doesn't matter? The guy that plants drugs on someone. Yeah. The guy that kills somebody that's unarmed, and this happens daily. Yeah. This happens.
Or shoots somebody's dog.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen videos where it's...
Or pull somebody over for driving while black.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's how... And the fact that so many people in the department look the other way. And that's why fuck the police is a thing. People don't understand that.
Like, I'm of the camp where I 100% appreciate what police officers do on a daily basis. Like, it's a necessary job. It's a shitty job. I don't think I'd ever want to do it.
Absolutely.
And it's definitely something that's necessary and people need, and we as society need to have. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, there needs to be a culture change in the way policing is done. Yeah. Granted, I'm not a police officer. I know a couple police officers. So I can't speak as to how they do their jobs. I'm sure they're wonderful cops because I've known them forever and known them since childhood. Sure. But at the same time, you can't turn a blind eye to the way police have treated, black people and Hispanics for the better part of, 100 fucking years. Yeah. Mass incarceration, fucking war on drugs.
Oh, the war on drugs.
Don't even fucking.
Well, yeah, we'll put that. I'll
put that on the back.
Hold on, let me write down my notes real quick. But
thanks, Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's just like if once you take all of those factors into effect, I can't sympathize because I'm not black. Yeah. But I can understand why somebody would feel that way. Mm-hmm. But, again, we have to play devil's advocate here and realize, hey, not every police department's like that. Mm-hmm. Not every police officer is like that.
Absolutely.
But yes, there is a systemic issue with the way policing is done. And that's not even being woke. That's not being a social justice warrior. Yeah. That's not being some libtard. That's just being frank about it. And that's just calling it how it is.
Yeah, it's reality.
And that's what I try to convey to people. And, like, I tried to convey that to people that I knew in college who were, like, super right-wing, super, like, Trump supporters. I'm like, listen, dude, I didn't turn into a liberal. I just got educated. Yeah. That might make my views seem more liberal or leftist, but that's just a matter of fact. Yeah. And I'm not trying to convey a political message. All I'm stating is the facts.
Yeah, I went out there. I did research. Yeah. That there's a reason that the scientific method is a thing. You know, like all these, you can prove it. It's
like if you're not changing your mind when you're growing up, you're not growing up.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at it. I like that. Yeah, I like that a lot.
And if you're not, broadening your horizons or expanding your ideas, and you're not challenging your own deeply held beliefs, mm-hmm. then you're not going to grow as a person. Like, that's just how it is, intellectually, mentally, anything like that. You just have to constantly challenge yourself. And yeah, it's uncomfortable. Sometimes you don't want to deal with the fact that
change.
Yeah, you know what? I might be wrong about this, or I might have been wrong about this my entire life. But once you come around to it and you're actually honest with yourself, that's when I think the real growth happens as a person. You just become happier and freer.
And it's a slippery slope, too, because when these people, when they support one thing like that, it's like they got a whole fence around them of all these things that they support. And if you're not inside that fence, you're the enemy. You're, you're a libtard or whatever.
You're not in our tribe.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, what happened to fucking conversation and listening to the other person? Yeah. You're not listening to the other person. You're standing there with your opinion, and you're not going, oh, wait, maybe this person has cited sources, has statistics, like, I don't know, numbers
but then
don't lie.
Any asshole can come across and challenge those statistics with another study.
Absolutely.
But that's the good thing about metadata. It's data about the data.
Sure. That's way over my head.
It's just how you do research, and that's how a lot of nutritional studies are done, or epidemiology studies are done.
Oh, okay.
They take metadata, which is all the studies, and they do a study about the studies.
Okay,
That's the overarching theme. There's people way smarter than me that can explain that better.
I could never. I mean, just doing the original studies. I never did that in high school, so I couldn't study on the studies.
Yeah.
But no, it's and it's funny because me and my one sister, she is far more right.
Yeah.
The microphone couldn't hear my air quotes, and I'm far more left. But the one thing that we completely agree on and bond over is our mutual decision of the police and how the police are, and it's great to every once in a while reach over to the other side. It's like, hey, we agree on this one thing.
Yeah. So the next panel says life was cherished. It's a picture of a unborn fetus. I'm just like, man, I've exhausted myself trying to explain to people.
Just like we've exhausted our resources with overpopulation.
Like, I've exhausted myself explaining to people, like, if you really cherish life, then you'd adopt all these kids in fucking foster care.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, hey, that's none of my business. Or you'll actually provide free birth control and condoms to kids in the South instead of having fucking abstinence-only sex education. Don't even fucking get me started.
That's insane.
I went on this fucking diatribe on Facebook, like, back in, I think it was, like, April. Remember that huge uproar about the Alabama fucking abortion bill and everything like that? And so, like, I laid it out for people, like, statistically speaking, according to Pew Research data, those states in the South have the highest rates of religiosity. They don't have free access to birth control. There's only like one Planned Parenthood in the entire state of Alabama. I could be wrong, but it's something ridiculous like that. And a lot of states in the South are like that, and they don't have like actual sex education programs. So obviously you would think there'd be a correlation to higher rates of teen pregnancy and overall, just abortions in general, which, surprise, surprise, is the actual fucking outcome of that. So I laid that out for people, and they were getting, like, super offended. I'm just like, listen, if you're going to teach a system of sex education based off a 2,000-year-old book of fucking fairy tales that doesn't even account for birth control or anything like that, then, what do you think's going to happen, man? Teens are going to have sex no matter what.
Yeah,
all right?
Absolutely.
You got dudes out here who want to stick their dick in fucking anything.
Yeah. Like, it's like, and the more you fucking drill it into them that they shouldn't, they're gonna just want to do it more.
That's like, our dare officer saying, hey, don't do drugs, and then by the time you're 12, you're smoking a fucking doobie.
My favorite smoking hat when it's the polar vortex or whatever, I still have my dare hat. I smoke in that thing all the time.
Nice. But I mean, that's just how it is. Like, if you want to stop abortions and fucking give better access to birth control and sex education, that's really how it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's just like a 10 times worse version of them just skipping over the evolution chapter for you at Trinity. Yeah. But hey, here's this whole thing.
And then the last one was when veterans were revered. Okay, let's slow the fuck down for a minute.
And I'm gonna leave this to you because you are a military man, veteran.
Given the last 18 years America's been at war, when have veterans not been revered? Okay, maybe Vietnam, after they came home from Vietnam.
Absolutely.
That's 100% true. They were spit on, fucking didn't get a good homecoming, okay? America learned its lesson with that. There were like huge homecomings for World War II, the Persian Gulf War, and, Iraq and Afghanistan. I can't recall a time since I've been old enough to actually remember or know that veterans have not been, like, held in the highest regard. Like, you have this culture of GWAT veterans, or Global War on Terror veterans, since 9/11, that come out of the service, that transition out, and they think they're fucking God's gift. Or
Thank you.
It's the brovet culture.
Thank you.
It is the motherfuckers you see on, they're sitting in their truck going on some goddamn rant. They always have to have, yeah. I'm like, dude, listen, you were some fucking E4 wheeled vehicle mechanic. Like, nobody fucking cares about your goddamn opinion.
Did you ever hear that Bill Burr joke about how it went from telling them that, they were baby killers, now you have to clap every time they walk over to Delta?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that...
it's just like putting us on a fucking pedestal.
Yeah. And,
I hate that.
And what you said about them being a E4, whatever, it's like... I know other people, obviously you are a great example of somebody that I know in the military. I know horrible examples of people that, just went to boot camp and they still got the uniform or they got pictures of them in the uniform and they're horrible fucking people, but they did nothing.
Yeah.
They did nothing.
I mean, so let's talk on that for a minute. I mean, if you go in, do your time, get out, just one contract, that's cool, man. Like, you did your service, you did what your country asked you to do, that's fine. Like, thanks. Here's your GI Bill, go off and do great things and be a contributing member of society. But you have these assholes like fucking John Burke and
who's John Burke?
He used to be a drill sergeant and drill sergeant infantry dude, and he got like famous on Facebook for going on a rant about like fucking, I don't know, fat people being lazy. I don't know.
Sure.
Some bullshit like that. And that just kind of like spawned this entire bro-vet culture. Like, you see it with like Ranger Up, you see it with Matt Best, you see it with, of course, John Burke, Tim Kennedy's another one. Like, they're all caught in this fucking bro-vet culture, and I can't stand it. Like,
sure.
It's all about wearing like fucking grunt style t-shirts, Oakley gas can sunglasses, still walking around with fucking Copenhagen and shit like that. And of course, you have to have a beard, or else you're not a fucking man.
Yeah.
Or you gotta wear the Affliction t-shirts. I'm like, that was the thing, man. That's the shit that I fucking hate, and I can't stand seeing. Like, at the end of the day, nobody fucking cares if you were in the military or not. Nobody really fucking cares. Like, when I get out, nobody's gonna give a shit. Like, in the grand scheme of things. Like, yeah, my country will give me X, Y, and Z benefits or whatever. That's great. You earned that, I earned that, whatever. Yeah. But don't act like it's the only thing that defines you.
Sure. Yeah, it's don't use it as a personality.
Yeah, because that's not your entire personality.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have much more to offer than just being a veteran who served for 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever, how many years.
Sure.
Obviously, if you spent your entire life, in the military, you did 20, 25, 30 years and retired, dude, then that is your life. That was your life.
Yeah.
And more power to you.
Sure.
But it's just this constant culture of bro-vets and stuff like that I can't stand. And of course they always they stand to make a quick fucking buck off of it. And they only talk about themselves or the fucking snowflakes and the libtards. Like, whoa, when I was in Afghanistan. Dude, like, nobody fucking cares.
Yeah.
Only you do. And maybe your wife or your girlfriend or your fucking, significant other, your parents, they might care, but in reality, nobody else does. So just, like, take yourself off that fucking pedestal. And I can't stand it, especially when politicians use us as, like, a marketing or a political ploy.
Sure.
To, like, pry, guilt or feelings out of Americans and act like, something the other day. Somebody said, people are still dying in Afghanistan and nobody cares, but Juice WRLD passes away and everybody loses.
That's in the same line
Yeah.
of that how we started with that meme. People share that kind of shit all the time.
It's the same line of thinking. I'm like, do you not understand that we've been at war for almost 20 years?
Yeah.
People might be a little blind to the fact that we're still at war. They might even have forgotten. Might have a little bit of amnesia.
And a lot of it is because people were unsettled about how everything, and I'm not that well educated on this, but the idea of an oil war and all that, and it's like people started getting, I don't know, like
people weren't sure what was going to happen. So
exactly, and people also got to realize and buckle up, war's not stopping.
No,
it's gonna keep going.
Exactly.
But yeah, continue,
and of course,
please.
The fucking Washington Post, I think, or some other news outlet, dropped the Afghanistan papers the other day, talking about how the United States government...
I actually saved that. I wanted to talk to you about that.
Purposely lied to the American people, saying we were making progress in Afghanistan when we clearly fucking weren't.
Yeah.
And there was, like, no tenable strategy. There's no way to actually win this war. Who are we fighting? What the fuck are we doing over there? We don't have any actual objectives. It's all a bunch of buzzwords that people throw around to make it sound like we're making progress. That's no fault of the militaries, That's no fault of our leaders. That's the fault of the politicians that actually sent us to war.
Yeah.
And exerting influence over our leaders, saying, hey, you're going to make it sound like we're actually making progress over there in Afghanistan, when in reality, we're not.
Nothing's happening. You're chasing your own tail.
Yeah. And I haven't deployed to Afghanistan. I haven't been to the Middle East. I don't know what it's like over there.
Sure.
I know plenty of people who do, though.
Yeah.
And I can't speak to their experiences, but I can attest to the fact from what I know, from what I've read, my friends who've been there have said, it's a losing battle, man. Like, there's no point in us fucking being over there anymore. If somebody just died today.
Wait, that comes... oh, really? Today?
Yeah.
Was it
nobody really knows yet, but that's just what I saw in the news.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
That brings me to one of my points. What is the vibe with fellow military, like the people you see on a day to day that you might hang out with, you go out to get a beer with, but the people that you work with, do they have similar thoughts as you on across the board?
I mean, it depends. Most of it depends on how well educated they are.
Sure.
That's one thing that I've noticed. Like, the more educated somebody is in the military, then the better understanding they have of, I don't know, I guess current affairs. You could put it that way.
Sure.
But from my experience, from a lot of people that I know who've deployed and everything like that, like, they kind of see it the same way. Like, they don't understand. Not that they look back on it. They might have deployed 8, 9, 10 years ago. And now they look back on it. They're just like, man, what were we really fucking doing? Like, what was the point? Like, did we actually make any progress over there? Like, did my friends or did other people that we knew die for nothing?
Sure.
I mean...
And then to lay awake...
Yeah,
thinking about that has to be...
Was my service wasted? Those are the thoughts that go through a lot of people's heads when they talk about that.
And they come back here and... I don't know. Yeah, just having to live with that would be...
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah. I don't have any of those thoughts because, like I said, I've never deployed to a combat zone or anything like that. So that's all I can say. I'm half of somebody else.
Yeah. Before we get off this topic, because I want to move to something less political that I think you'll enjoy. But one last comment on it. I want to buy a fucking jersey. I love the man so much. Colin Kaepernick. What are your thoughts?
I don't give a fuck.
You don't give a fuck, right?
You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Well, that's the thing. You're a veteran. And all these people that are not veterans on Facebook that never saying that it offends you. It offends you, Luke.
So suddenly you speak for me now.
It offends you, right?
Suddenly you speak for everybody, every fucking veteran out there. Like, listen, dog. A large majority of us don't care.
Yeah.
Like 60, 70% of veterans that have been polled and asked about it, they don't care.
Yeah.
Like, that's the reason why we signed up. So he can do that. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. Try that somewhere else.
Absolutely.
what other country could you try that in?
Yeah. And the thing that, it's well known that he asked a veteran, how can I do this more respectful?
Yeah.
And the veteran told him to take a knee.
Yeah, he asked the dude who's a former Green Beret. He played for UT, University of Texas Longhorns. He was their long snapper. I forget his name. I think it was like Nate Green or something like that. But he asked him, and the dude was like, just take a knee. It's that, and to hear that coming from somebody who's seen war, has been to combat, and everything like that, I think that should kind of be like your permission slip.
Yeah.
Hey, if you blessed off on a man, then go right the fuck ahead. I don't care. Like, in fact, I think it'd be a disservice to his community and his audience if he didn't use his position of popularity to actually put his message out.
Yeah.
Like, he was an NFL superstar.
And that's what I fucking hate that people are... When people shit on somebody with celebrity for having an opinion, it's like, this is still a human being.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of these Hollywood liberals came from small towns in Iowa, so that, and now they have that platform, or these athletes that came from underprivileged neighborhoods, and now they have an idea.
If you have a platform and you have an audience that'll listen, why not, man?
Yeah.
Like, you have that right. You have the right to do it. I may not agree with it. I may not like what you have to say, but I'm gonna let you say it.
Absolutely. And it's just, I don't know.
I think if more people took that point, then we might be able to come to some sort of agreement on issues, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or at least come to a closer understanding of each other, or where we might come from and why we hold that position.
And at the end of the day, I literally think the degrading of society is the fucking people that it keeps coming back to it, but buy into these stupid memes of I kneel for the cross and I stand for the flag, that kind of shit.
Fucking blow me.
It's like you're just, and it's on the left too. It's on it's on both sides, and I don't like defining myself. I always say I'm a little bit further left, but there's so many fucking people left that I hate. It's like, shut the fuck up already.
You're the reason why we lost in 2016.
Yeah.
Those motherfuckers.
Yeah. I got told at Second City that I couldn't say cunt. I'm a fucking comedian.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not... I don't know.
That's one of the most underutilized words of all time.
It's so good.
Great.
It's so good. It's so
great.
satisfying.
And it's like, if you go to fucking Britain or Australia, like, they use it like willy-nilly.
All the time. Oh yeah, it's like a...
Everybody's a cunt.
Yeah. It's like a...
It's a term of endearment almost.
Seriously. Fucking idiots. Actually, there's one last thing too, because you mentioned earlier about using veterans as a token.
Yeah.
Like to pull at the heartstrings and shit like that. Now, I could be wrong. This could be me falling for fake news, but the military pays the NFL to do those little, like,
halftime bullshit.
I
have no clue.
That's just what I heard. That they're like in agreement to do that, and the NFL's making money off of it.
They might be in cahoots. I don't know. It could be tinfoil hat time.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, I love putting on that hat. I'll tell you that. No, but let's switch gears here.
Yeah, no problem.
Style.
Mm-hmm.
You've always been a man of style. I'm from a man that doesn't have no style. Mm-hmm. Please show me your ways. You're a man of suits. You're a man of, when did you get into this? When did you turn on? You're like, let's look good. When did you start dressing up?
Probably, I'd say between my freshman and sophomore year of college.
Sure.
Kind of when I got into it. There were some fitness forums that I was on, and they had a section for just like anything you do, talk about whatever the fuck you want to talk about. And there was a thread about menswear and like male fashion and everything like that. So started exploring that thread, and it was like a recurring thread. Like once it got full with too many replies, they start another one.
Kept going, yeah.
And that's really where I learned.
Yeah.
I learned it from the fucking internet. Like nobody really taught me
Sure.
like how to match patterns and textures and everything like that, or colors, or even pair them. I learned everything that I know from fucking internet forums,
sure.
fitness forums. Ironically enough, and then after that, I started slowly building a wardrobe.
Sure.
Yeah.
These fitness forums, I've dove into them before. Just because I've had a lot of people suggest them to me,
mm-hmm.
and they're like communities. They're like real like well knit communities on these things.
Definitely can be.
I guess that's why I didn't latch on. I hate people. I know I don't like talking much. You wouldn't know from this stupid ass podcast, but it's I can see how you always supporting each other on there.
Yeah,
You got that.
Originally, I wasn't on there to learn about clothes. I was on there to learn about fitness or whatever,
sure.
something like that. And it just kind of snowballed from there. And then I eventually met one of my best friends in college in my fraternity. He was kind of also into clothing and fashion and all that, and that's actually how we became like really good friends.
Yeah.
Just through talking about that, and kind of just kept going from there. And then I started, slowly building a wardrobe. Like, I was a poor college student. I couldn't afford to buy new shit, so I'd always go thrifting.
Oh,
or go
love thrifting.
Dude, thrifting.
It's the best.
Shit, yeah. Or
we'll have to go sometime. It's a great time.
Or I'd go on eBay, or
sure.
Buy clothes from there too. Or I'd just always hunt the sales and everything too. So that's how I grew my wardrobe. 95% of the stuff that I wear is thrifted.
Yeah.
I rarely, if ever, buy anything new.
What are your thoughts on these, every fucking podcast has advertisements for, we'll send you a whole outfit and you get 15% off your first order if you use...
Like the subscription boxes?
Yeah.
I thought about doing one of those, but at the end, for me, it just came down to, do I really, need most of this shit that comes in the box?
Mm-hmm. And they're sending it to 20,000 other people, too.
And some of the time, yeah. I mean, and a lot of the time they send you shit based off of, what you fill out in, a questionnaire or a survey.
Sure.
And, okay, we think that you might like these products in the box this month, and whatever you don't like, you get sent back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if there's a month or two where I get a box and I don't like fucking anything, then I come away with nothing.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I could go out and buy the individual items that I want.
Sure.
Still get that instant gratification of having that item that I've wanted, but without the hassle of shipping and getting repackaged and fucking sending it back and printing the label.
There is fucking subscription services for everything.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
I don't do it.
Well, I guess it's the future.
Yeah, I don't do any of that.
Yeah, me
shit.
neither.
They have it for colognes and everything like that. It's just I don't give two fucks. If I want something, I will research it, try to find it. I'll go try it on or try it out at a department store, and then I'll search the thrift shops or eBay or Poshmark for it so I can get it at a cheaper price. I'm a cheap bastard. I'm not gonna.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't pay full price for anything. Almost nothing.
Good.
And
that's how it should be.
Yeah. I try and find it used secondhand. I don't give a fuck. All I gotta do is take it to a dry cleaner and you're good.
Yeah,
that's really all that matters.
Wash the dead person out of it, and if you get it at Savers.
Or wash the fucking mothballs out of it, or the old lady smell, or some bullshit like that. Because you walk into a thrift store, it has a certain smell.
Oh yeah.
I've
had a big debate about this, about why Savers, and if you've been to Savers, of course. But if people don't know, Savers is a thrift store that's not as big as Goodwill, but everybody knows Goodwill.
Yeah.
That Savers smells better. It still has dead person smell.
Yeah.
But it's a wider layout.
Yeah.
So I think the smell has like a place to linger, whereas Goodwills are always like in these like
They're
box shaped
I've
and
never
crowded.
been to a large Goodwill.
No, it's never. And
No.
everything's stuffed in there. There's
Yeah.
there's like board games with like pieces flying all over
And
the
there's
place.
there's mixed matched like fucking tags. Like
Yeah.
there's a fucking lady sweater and like the polo shirt section
Yeah.
I'm looking for. I'm just like, I don't want this fucking sweatshirt with a fucking embroidered kitty cat on it. All right, I don't fucking want that.
And the whole time you're like
Yeah.
wishing you had a gas mask to breathe through because of the smell.
Yeah, like I'm telling you, like if for anybody listening and you don't know, like I'm telling you, thrift stores have a certain smell.
Yeah.
Thrift stores, antique stores, like it, and you know it.
Yeah.
You know it when you smell it.
Yeah.
You can't quite put your finger on it. It's just like.
It smells like going in your grandma's basement in like
Exactly.
97. Like
Yep.
it takes you back to
Yep.
97.
Yeah.
But don't let it deter you.
No.
Don't let it being secondhand deter you. I found actually it was like 3 years ago. My mom bought me a shirt for Christmas, and I had bought an exact same brand of this shirt. She spent like $30 on the shirt or something at Kohl's, and I got it for like $5
Yeah.
at Savers. You know, so it's like you're saving money. You're getting the same shit.
Yeah. It's just worn by somebody else a couple times.
People are fucking stupid though.
Yeah.
It's the Starbucks culture, the Apple culture, not just those. I'm not just
Yeah.
particularly, but it's these people that gotta latch onto a thing, a
brand
brand.
loyalist,
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm a brand loyalist. It's only like a couple things. Like I wear a lot of Nike.
Sure,
I like their products.
as I can see.
Yeah. I like their products. Like I like what they put out, and that's why I keep buying it.
Sure.
Quality lasts me forever. I don't care. And like again, it goes back to the whole Kaepernick thing. Everybody was like losing their fucking minds, but that's don't want to.
My favorite thing right after that was Jim Carrey went on Bill Maher, and the first thing he did was he kicked his feet up on the desk. He was like, "Oh, just breaking in my new shoes. Gotta love them."
That's great. But yeah, I do that. I like Nike. I like Apple. I
Sure.
like their products. Like,
Sure.
I'm not gonna sit here and have a fucking dick measuring
Debate,
contest with
yeah.
somebody over like, oh, Apple, Android. I don't give two fucks. Listen, I like their products. If you don't, I don't give two fucks.
Sure.
Like, wear whatever the fuck you want. Like, use whatever fucking phone you want. You know, I don't care. Just like do your thing, man. Don't be an asshole.
And that's
about
what
it.
it's all about. Is like, I wish people would just be more do your thing.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, why can't people just be more do your thing to everyone?
Yeah.
All walks of life. But
Who am I to fucking judge?
Yeah.
You know? Not my fucking deal.
should we talk about the war on drugs?
Sure. Why the fuck not?
I wrote it down.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Yeah.
No. As some may know, I tend to like the marijuana, and in 7 days, is there 30 days in December or 31? 31. So in 8 days, it's going to be legal here for the first time, and it's like. This is beating a dead horse, but how the fuck? Sorry, I keep forgetting we're on the children's level of the library, and I've been dropping F-bombs and getting woke in here.
That's good for him.
It's good. Hopefully there's somebody right on the other side.
Yeah.
There's some little 8-year-old old Johnny listening to our political tinfoil hats.
Yeah.
How could it be this still schedule? Is it Schedule 4 or Schedule 1?
Schedule 1, meaning that there's no medicinal use for it, or
Yeah.
no legitimate scientific or medical use for it. From my understanding, that's how it works.
What? It's like just CBD alone, which is legal. Like, don't you realize that they're paired together? I don't know. There's not much to get into it about it, but I just you consider yourself a libertarian, right?
For the most part.
For the most part, yeah. And they're about freedom, and that's the I wouldn't consider myself a libertarian. I don't know what the fuck I am. But
individual liberty and personal responsibility.
Sure.
Like personal freedom. That's what
actually, let me discuss this. So, my sister, we debate all the time on abortion. She's obviously very pro-life, and I'm pro-choice. Fuck, why did I there was something I was going to bring this up. I'm losing it. I'm losing the question.
How do libertarians think about it?
Thank you. a non-smoker. I can tell you got a brain that actually remembers what the hell we were doing. She considers herself a libertarian.
Mm-hmm.
Big fan of Rand Paul. I was a big fan of Rand Paul until he started sidling a little too close to Trump for me. He was kind of starting to, I don't know. He was being very uncharacteristic of Rand Paul. Do you have thoughts on him?
Not really.
Not really. You know, he's one of the only examples of a libertarian that's not Gary Johnson.
He brought up, God, Gary. Poor Gary. No, I remember Rand Paul. There was a video that surfaced of him in the Senate, and he was talking about like mandatory vaccinations are a violation of freedom. I'm just like, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
The libertarian in me agrees that you shouldn't force anybody to do anything. Like, you can't force somebody to get a medical procedure or something like that. But if it's for the betterment of society, then I'm kind of like, I could see that.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm torn on that. Like, part of me, I understand where he's coming from, but I'd rather kids not have fucking measles.
Well, that brings me to the point with my sister. Is her opinion very along the exact same line as she's pro-life, and she believes that it is a libertarian point to be pro-life because the number one rules or whatever of the not the rules, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What is that on? Is that on the Constitution? What the hell is that on?
Yes.
Something. One of those papers, really old documents. That being pro-life is the libertarian. That all libertarians should be pro-life, but. What is your take on that?
Saying that all libertarians should view something one way or the other is not very libertarian of somebody.
I guess not like she didn't say it like that, but she's like she thinks that should be the libertarian stance. Yeah, her husband and so actually some other folks from Trinity, our upbringing, have jumped in on Facebook arguments with us.
Sure they have. Won't surprise me. But dude. I don't know, man. Like, that's a tough area. One, I'm not a woman, so, like, I don't really... Of course, everybody has a fucking opinion, alright? But I'm very pro-choice. I'm all for being able for somebody to decide to do with their body with whatever the fuck they want, like bodily autonomy.
Yeah.
And some people, having that option scares other people for some reason. Like, I'm not trying to come across as some, like, third-wave feminist or, some social justice warrior, but just, like, let women have the fucking choice. It's not a big fucking deal, man.
And I think that's what the problem with society is, too, is that it is looked upon that way, like you're a social justice warrior just for supporting women, letting them have a decision. All I'm saying
is that you should be able to do with your body whatever the fuck you want.
Absolutely.
You should be able to put whatever drugs in your body that you want. You should be able to... tattoo whatever fucking part of your body you want. I don't give two shits.
Yeah.
As long as it's not negatively affecting me and my shit, I don't care.
Sure.
Do heroin in your house next door. Just don't do it out my fucking front lawn.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's not my deal. It's not my place to say anything. But if it'd be better for somebody to not have that child and be a burden on society, monetarily or fiscally speaking from, like, a welfare standpoint.
Yeah.
Than to bring a child in the world that's probably not going to be afforded the same opportunities as a child born into another family who might have more affluence, something like that. I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, absolutely. No, I completely get it. Because, you want to force these women to have this baby, and it's like, then you're going to complain that they're on welfare.
Yeah, like
how does
forcing somebody to have a baby isn't very libertarian in the first place,
Exactly. So
forcing anybody to do anything.
And that's why, she's very, she believes that kind of stuff, should be government intervened, and it's just, I cannot see eye to eye.
No, as a libertarian,
and I love my sister, but this is the stuff we argue about.
Yeah.
So, but it's nice to actually talk to somebody that also kind of is in the same conversation.
Wanting government intervention in anything is not the libertarian stance.
Yeah.
That's how it be.
Absolutely.
It'll be like that sometimes.
Well, you said one more thing. We'll end on this. Tattoos.
Yeah.
You tend to have a couple.
Yeah,
I don't know if people...
Quite a few. Yeah. I don't know if anybody notices.
Yeah, you're pretty fucking tatted up.
Yeah.
And I mean, how many have you had? How many hours have you sunk into it? And they're fucking awesome tattoos.
Thank you. So I got my first one when I was 19. I just finished like my freshman year of college. Had a little bit of cash saved up, so I figured I'd go get one. As far as how many I have, I don't know. Like, I obviously have 2 full sleeves. I have an entire back piece. Like basically the entire right side of my torso is done. But I'd say individually pieced together, probably 20 if you put them all together.
Sure.
Obviously, they're all an amalgamation.
Do you have a favorite?
Probably my back. Probably my back panel.
The back is what again?
I have 2 koi fish on my back.
Oh, yeah. I think I've seen that.
Yeah, the entire right side of my body is all traditional Japanese, and the left side is black and gray. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's the first one was which? And the first one was what?
It was a German Imperial Eagle. Because my grandfather was like super proud of his German heritage and everything like that, so it's kind of like a little ode to him.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's why I got that one.
Very sweet of you.
Yeah.
Such a sweet boy.
Yeah, of course. Anybody who knows me will say that. But yeah, I recently just finished up my left arm last week, like last Wednesday. Just got it done, and so I finally.
I feel like every time you get into town, I see a social media post about getting new ink.
Yeah, so I'm always gonna go to my boy.
Yeah, you got a place to rep. You got a place to.
Yeah, Firehouse Tattoos up in Crestwood. Holler at your boy Zach. He's done all my ink, a lot of my ink. So go holler at him. Good dude.
He does a great job.
Good rates, great artistry. They got a lot of good artists up there, so go check them out.
Yeah. Your favorite thing to do is come home and get a tattoo.
Yeah, and my parents are always asking, "Oh, what are you getting this time?" You know, and they're always. Like, I've never gotten any tattoos done in Washington, where I currently live. I've always gotten tattoos done here. I got a few done in Texas, one done in Oklahoma, and, yeah, I got a lot of them done when I was in college, too. So, like, I've never gotten any done out in Washington. Just because, like, I'm tired of fucking looking for artists and shit.
Yeah.
Like,
finding that right guy. You don't want to screw it up.
Yeah, and then I'm home, like, 2-3 times a year. Like, I can tolerate waiting.
Sure.
To wait for my good artist to open up and paying whatever. I don't give a fuck. Like, as long as it looks good and I can budget correctly, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Luke, it's been great fucking catching up with
pleasure.
you.
Yeah. Happy Festivus.
Happy Festivus. We're gonna start beating the shit out of each other in the
feats of strength.
Yeah, it's not over until you pin me, which I think it's gonna be pretty quick.
Let's rumble. Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks so much for coming on, and thanks for being a guest. It's been great talking.
Thanks for having me.
I've never had another person on here, so I don't really know how to end the show.
Hey, this is how it works.
All right. Thanks, Luke.
No problem.